Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Interesting Points. This is a show that I created about 2013, about 7 years ago. It's based off of British panel shows that I loved, fell in love with, and really just kind of wanted to bring that kind of sensibility to American comedy again. Basically, we're going to sit here and talk about what makes people interesting, what they might be, what they might feel guilty about. I'm guilty about loving, and also kind of do a little version of Three Truths and a Lie to end it all up. So let me waste no more time with myself and bring on the panelists. First up is M. Lav. How you doing, M?
Hi, Josh. I'm good. How are you?
Good. And next up, we got Tookie. Tookie,
Hi.
how's it going? Didn't mean to scare you.
I'm never ready. Hi.
Next up, we got Shion. Shion, how's it going?
Hi, friends. I'm doing well. How are you?
Hi,
Finally,
Sheila.
we got Teresa. Teresa, how's it
Hey,
going?
everybody.
Hey.
Good.
All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the banter, which is actually just kind of to get the juices flowing, kind of get the conversation going a little bit as we get into the other segments of the show. So what happened today is that I was sitting in a playground when I decided on it, so I decided to make the topic playgrounds. So that's about it. So MLav, what does playground bring up for you?
You know, I've been having a lot of trouble coming to terms with like modern playgrounds because like when I was growing up, we had those like wooden ass playgrounds, like the kind that are obviously dangerous and that's why they don't make them anymore. But that was like my childhood, and I'm glad that they're like being safer with their like, I don't know, they're like steel playgrounds or whatever it is that they're like making all the materials. But like I just want one of those like really like fairly secure like tire ladders like put together with like really rusty chains. Like that's just I know it's not safe, and I do appreciate what's happening in current playgrounds, but I miss the old ones.
What's funny? It's funny you say that because today, when I was in the playground, my wife took my daughter down on a slide in front of her, and everything was great until they hit the bottom, and they hit the bottom at like Mach 5 on the slide, and they literally flipped over, and my wife landed on top of my daughter.
Oh
Oh my
no.
God, is she okay?
Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine.
Oh.
It was
Oh,
just hilarious. I mean, it was hilarious after the fact. It wasn't funny right after it happened, but it's hilarious now, because she just literally just flew off the bottom of the slide. So they're not any safer, is what I'm trying to say. And I do miss the old school ones though. Seriously, like the old school ones that would kill you if you decided to play on them.
Yeah, always a risk.
Oh my God, you guys are like, back in my day, sweetheart. I love it.
Hey, Tookie, what does playgrounds mean to you?
Oy vey. Oh, well, I would like to say, for the record, that children are incredibly buoyant and resilient. So you didn't have too much to worry about. Oh man, playgrounds are, I mean, they mean splinters to me for sure, because I too am of the generation where playgrounds were quite rickety. I'm like in that weird in-between point, that weird in time between when everything was like wood and then you had that one metal slide that gave you all sorts of burns and various crevasses on your body. And then when they were trying to get the plastic playgrounds together, but it was never good plastic because it was always extra hot in the summer. Yeah, not a good time. Playgrounds to me, I have stronger memories of ball pits
Okay.
than playgrounds.
All right.
boy.
Mostly because of the odor, right? Like because playgrounds are open air.
Yeah.
So you don't strongly remember that, whereas memory and scent are very strongly linked, and I can never unsmell any ball pit I've ever been.
That is a phrase.
Yeah, like they smell like plastic and feet, right?
That's so
At least that's what-
interesting because I don't recall the smell of any ball pit, but I recall ball pits and like the general sensation and like all the weird little tubes that you had to crawl through.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe you've just never been in a ball pit.
I
That's
don't
all.
think I have either. Yeah.
I have a false memory.
Like the Discovery Zone or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
back in my shoulder
Yeah.
at the Discovery Zone, and finally got a settlement. It was good times. Good times.
I've been stuck in a tube at the Discovery Zone because my sister, when she was younger, was running through and I was supposed to go catch her,
Oh boy.
and literally I was too big for the tube, so that brings back some bad memories for me.
Oh.
I can't imagine. Does not sound like fun.
Shion, what does playgrounds mean to you?
So when I remembered playgrounds, I remembered whatever I don't know if they're called monkey bars or parallel bars, but the ladder on its side. And I remember being like ecstatic to like run during recess and do like flips and things on that. And I can't even imagine doing that now. Like I feel like I would be on the top of the bar and just have trepidation about flipping myself over. So yeah, I just remember being agile and fearless. So yeah, just some light topics when I think of playgrounds.
So pure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Teresa, what does playgrounds mean to you?
Oh, light topics. Have I got one for y'all? Actually kind of slapped me in the face a little bit when I saw that was the topic. As many of our audience may know, comedians often have the two faces, right? Comedy and tragedy. And so right now I'm currently processing 2 traumatic childhood memories involving a swing set. Yeah, one of them was a tire swings being like kids taunting me, like pushing me around it and like laughing at me. And then the other one is actually really messed up. I actually, and maybe, I don't know if this was right or wrong, but I was kind of being bullied by this real big girl in the class, really strong. And she pushed me so high, like, and I was trying to like screaming to get her to stop and trying to scrape my feet, but I couldn't. And so I just keep getting higher and higher and higher. And I'm an idiot, so I thought I was going to flip over, or maybe I would, because they were so dangerous. I don't know. Josh and I are on the same age, but so I was really making this creaking noise, and I really thought it was going to just, I was going to like flip over it and like be thrown off. So at the very apex, I jumped off. And I broke one ankle, I sprained the other, and I was in a wheelchair for 6 months because of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's really fun and light, super fun to have.
Wow.
The other part about that I've just been trying to deal with the irony of a little bit, in my current life, my husband and I are actually swingers. So it's like living with this dichotomy,
Have you ever broken your leg, broken your ankle, and sprained your other ankle while swinging now?
No, not really. I have in the past had to go to the chiropractor and just very politely explain that I was being intimate and my hair got pulled, and because I was watching House at the time, and the whole concept of House is that everyone lies, especially to doctors, and so I felt like I couldn't lie. I wanted to be truthful, and it's very rare when I get nervous when I do. My voice goes up like that, like up a couple octaves, like Minnie Mouse on crack, like so. And after revealing that, the doctor couldn't look at me in the eye the entire rest of the session. So that was fun. That was fun.
Wow.
Positivity, woo!
So that was our talk about playgrounds. Some great stuff there. Started off with reminding me about what my old childhood, and then ended with something else.
What a journey.
What a journey.
The path we're on already.
We went from childhood to adulthood very quickly there.
Yeah, we all grow up
I
so
did
fast.
clear it with Josh. I want to let you guys know. I'm like, can I speak in sexual terms? But keep it fairly, fairly.
Yeah, of course.
So I have permission, is what I'm saying, and we have the safe word and everything. So.
Yeah, we're late-ish night. Bananas.
Is the safe word tire swing?
It should be. It should be. I like that.
So our next bit is something called Prove It to Me, which is basically everybody's an expert in something, or likes to think they're an expert in something. So I've asked everybody to kind of tell me what you're an expert in and prove it to me. So I'm going to start with Shion.
Oh, great. Hi.
Would you like me to start somewhere else?
No, that's totally fine. Let's go. Let's tell you what I'm an expert in.
All right, yeah, what are you an expert in?
So I'm going to say that I'm an expert in doing my own hair in the way that I do my own hair. And what that means is, back in the day before I had locks, I could do like cornrows and things that were passable. Passable meaning I would go out in public wearing them, which is a feat. And when I started having locks, I was doing a lot of YouTube stalking of people who were doing tutorials. And so I would put hours into the various ways to get my hair up. So I do like a nice chignon, a nice French roll at one time. I've done like basket weaves. And once I even turned myself into a vampire for Halloween by putting like giant like rolls in my hair.
Wow. That's really cool. I didn't know half of those hairstyles.
Très French, très français. I like
Very
it.
nice.
Chignon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody got any
I've
questions?
always appreciated your hair, Shion. Every single style.
It is glorious. Can we see the rest
Thank
of it?
you.
Can we-
Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes. I actually just saw on Facebook, I saw one of those memory posts when I started grad school 9 years ago, and my locks were about to here. So they've definitely come a long way.
Wow.
Anyone in the chat appreciate that delight? Okay.
Always some love.
I appreciated it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice. Actually, speaking of memory posts, my memory post today that came up was actually the first time I saw my daughter's face on an ultrasound.
Oh my god. You win.
Yeah. It reminded me when you said memory post, and I was like, oh yeah, today was the day that I saw my daughter's face.
That's so cool.
So MLav, what are you an expert in?
Oh, geez. I've given this a lot of thought.
Most people do.
Yeah. No, I was like, oh, what the fuck am I? What do I even do? And then I thought of a wild card that I can actually back up. I would like to present to the court. I am an expert at swimming.
Okay.
I swam competitively from ages like 10 to 18. Was I fast? No, I wasn't. Before I was of legal age to drive, my mom didn't want to take me to all those 5 a.m. practices, so I was a little behind the curve on like getting my speed reps in there. I was a distance swimmer, which also sucked because then I had to do all the really long, boring races, and this was like before they made those like earbuds that you can listen to underwater, so it was just really fucking boring. But do I know the techniques of all 4 competitive swim strokes, and could I coach you in it? Yes, I could. Let's dive in.
Let's dive in. I like that.
Oh, that's very good.
Pun intended.
I hope the chat loves that.
I think it is.
I think they do.
Nice.
Oh no.
So yeah, I'm gonna do a little Zoom tutorial on how to swim. So there's 4 major strokes in competitive swimming. There's backstroke, butterfly, which is probably objectively the hardest because it literally uses every muscle in your body. There's freestyle, more commonly known as crawl stroke, and the breaststroke. And they usually have in race format, like the shortest you can go is 50 meters or 50 yards, depending on what kind of pool you're in. And then the longest you can go is, I don't know, you can do like 1,000-yard freestyle. But that's the only one where you could do like a super long distance race of. They're like the breaststroke and the butterfly usually don't go any more than 200 because they're more like niche strokes. There's an individual medley, which is typically it's either you can do 100-yard or 200-yard or meter of that. And it's butterfly into backstroke into breaststroke into freestyle. So if you're good at all 4, that's good for you. I don't know, what do people want to know about swimming?
I have so many questions about butterfly.
Yeah.
Why does it suck so bad? How do you not sink into the water progressively with each little stroke?
Yeah.
That's my question.
It is a struggle.
Breathing, breathing. Yeah.
I remember like doing drills for it. Like we would do like just kicking, where like we'd have like a board and just work on like the dolphin kick, which is like murder on your abs and legs. But if you pull, there's like a keyhole way where like you like put your arms up and over, but then as you're pulling them back down, you make this like keyhole shape in the water, and it actually like pushes you forward, so you don't have to work as hard. And if you keep your head, like even when you come up to breathe, if you don't pull your head up all the way and you just like keep your chin tucked, it like will like propel you better than if you were like look up, which lowers your feet, and then you have to like put yourself back down, and it's harder to move through the water.
Wow.
That's a very good pro tip. Thank you.
How do you keep yourself straight doing the backstroke? I've never been able to stay in a lane.
Oh yeah, practice. Yeah, I was a
Be
drifter.
better.
Work in your life. Yeah.
Well, if you're like, if you're just like by yourself, like you can just like, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, if you are like in a lane with other people, you just kind of have to like feel like where those like lines are and just kind of like stay as close to them as you can and hope for the best that you don't whack somebody in the face, which I did regularly.
So in the chat, how do I stop sinking?
Have your mother take you to 5 a.m. practice. That's how you avoid not stinking.
Well, thank you, Emlev. Appreciate it. Tookie, what are you an expert in?
Oh my. I'm wavering between a couple topics. So it's how to make the perfect runny egg. Yeah, that's one. Which Kennedy sibling might have been the Horcrux? That's another. And
oh man, what?
And why we're currently rewatching the series on Netflix. Why the villain Unalaq from Book 2 of Legend of Korra is a whole ho. He's a whole ho.
Oh, that's too funny. Oh. Do we get to pick which one you get into, or should the chat do that?
Sure.
I mean, does everyone here know Legend of Korra?
Not as much as I probably should or want to.
You should. I don't want to spoil too much.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I might be an expert in that too. I'll have a private chat with Tiki about that after.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever watch Avatar: The Last Airbender?
You mean how many?
Yeah.
I watched some of it.
Oh gosh, no.
Oh, Josh, get into it.
No.
Should I leave now? Should I leave now?
Just watch the whole season.
I don't know. I couldn't really get into them. They always have the arrows on their heads, and it just made me think of drawing inappropriate arrows on your friends' faces when they passed out at parties.
I mean, fair, but
I just kept being like,
but the air nomads are a pacifist and peaceful tribe. They don't really believe in errant arrow dicks. Like there is a purpose behind that. But
Yeah.
Aerobics.
start from the beginning, watch Avatar The Last Airbender, watch Legend of Korra after. And when you get to book 2, remember that I told you Unalaq is a whole hoe.
Okay.
He's, yeah, he's a lot.
Entire.
He's a lot.
A whole hoe. He's a whole hoe. I guess I can just touch on all 3. So there's that. I don't want to spoil too much for the audience, especially anybody who hasn't seen the show yet. But also, okay. I've been researching for another project. I did some research on like the Kennedy siblings from years past, because Papa Joe Kennedy, right, who was a political Voldemort in his own right, and he had 9 children. One of them motherfuckers had to be a Horcrux for him to gain political power like he did. And through my research, I discovered that it was Jean, R.I.P. And to make the perfect, if you're into it, because not everybody's into this, if you're aiming to make the perfect kind of poached egg with a runny yolk for like a soup, or to put on top, or like a nice pita pocket egg and cheese sandwich. Sorry, vegan friends, cover your ears. You don't boil it. You steam it. You steam your eggs. So you get your pot, put it, a small, like a saucepan or something. If you want to, make like 1 or 2 runny yolk eggs, put them in the pot, cover with water about 2/3-ish of the way up, right? So not fully submerging the eggs, and you steam it for 6.5 minutes.
Wow. I would have never thought to do that. I just throw them in a frying pan and hope I can flip them.
Absolutely not. And then, of course, give them time to cool, but you get the egg and a little bit of the 3/4 up boiling water, let it steam. Exactly 6.5 minutes. Time it.
I will do so tomorrow morning. Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's weird because I was sitting there listening to you talk about the Kennedys and the Horcrux, and then you went right to runny eggs, and I was like,
Yes.
how is this going to tie into the Kennedys?
It doesn't. That's the beauty of it.
So, Teresa, thank you, Tookie. Teresa, what are you an expert in?
I'm not sure if I should specialize or generalize. If you want to be more general, I would say just the general preparation of meat. So a big I'm sorry to the vegan friends. But specifically, I would say really in terms of actual expertise, probably the cooking of steak. Mm-hmm. So I'd already really mastered, just probably one of the first recipes I ever did, and this is probably almost, maybe even 2 decades ago or 15 years, was a bacon-wrapped filet mignon with a roasted garlic butter with dill. It was like thyme and a few other fresh herbs. So that was like where I started. So I just want to let you know where I've gone over the years. I have an old friend who, for his birthday, I would try to outsteak myself from the year before. I have made, Havarti and caramelized onion stuffed steaks on grilled them. That was really difficult trying to keep that all in there, but it was delicious. I don't know, I think this is really old school and no one makes it anymore, but there's an old school recipe called Steak Diane. It's like this really intense sauce. I'm Italian, sauce, and there's that one. And then recently, what has upped my game a whole bunch is I was gifted a food sealer and a sous vide machine. If anyone knows what that is, it sounds fancy. I believe it's the a word for underwater in French, I believe, or submerged. And what you do is you have to vacuum seal the food, or I guess you can sort of do like a little other method there with like a what's it called, a Ziploc bag. But really, you should probably seal it in the vacuum sealer with a whole lot of herbs and spices, hopefully, and then you leave it in this water. You put it in a pot of water, not on the stove. It's just a literal water circulator. This machine is all it does, makes the water go around. But it keeps the water at the precise temperature. So you put it at 130 for medium rare, and it keeps it at that temperature. And if you keep it there for the full 4 hours, and then you take it out and you sear it, oh my God, it's like red, that perfect color of pink the entire way through, with none of that sort of gray in the edges from when you really had to that sort of char goes more into the meat, and it's literally like it's just amazing. It melts in your mouth. It's just real serious. And my most recent steaks that I made were this past Tuesday night, and last week on Tuesday. And I did the method I just described there with the sous vide in 4 hours. And the sauce I made was a truffle pan sauce, truffle and roasted garlic butter pan sauce, sort of a reduction.
Wow.
So come at me about steak, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh my God, I'm so
I just-
hungry. That all sounds amazing.
The really stupid thing that went through my head was the fact that when you said sous vide means underwater, I was like, well, that relates to MLAV.
That's
It relates to Tookie talking about the Kennedys.
I know. I was going to say, like, on Chappaquiddick, wasn't that Ted? That was the worst one I thought. But I don't know.
Anybody got any questions about steak, cooking steak? Because that was pretty impressive.
Can you make us dinner?
You know, I don't know when I'll be in Boston next, but if I am there and we can get together in person, I would love that. Josh, so Josh, you're going to have us over. So
Yes.
IP potluck. I'm calling it now.
well, your eggs and my steak together, that's a perfect brunch.
Oh,
Okay?
wow.
We just need like a bunch of champagne that will pretend to put other things in. Great, you know?
Cool. That was proven to me. I think you've all proved it to me. You're all experts. Yeah, that was probably the cleanest round I've ever had of this. So thank you for that. Usually it ends up with one person going, "Yeah, I'm an expert in this," and blah blah blah. Okay, I'm done.
Well,
But this was fantastic. I loved it.
Em, I really thought that you said that you were an expert in women. I really thought that you said that. Did anyone else think that? Was that just me? And I was like, cool, where's this going to go? We're going to go like,
Let me tell you about women.
I know, where's this going to go? Like, did you have to win this with all these women? Like, I can't wait.
I have done a performance of the vagina monologues like 10 times, but that's a little outdated.
I love it.
So that was proven to me. Next topic. Now I'm gonna explain this ahead of time because everybody says the same thing. I'm bringing up guilty pleasures. Everybody says that they're not guilty about it, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I just want something that you may like that other people may be surprised that you like. So I'm using the term guilty pleasures. That's actually called, and I'm guilty too is the name of the segment. But I just want to hear what you like that other people may think is not you, basically.
Gotcha.
So like myself, I really love old school reality love shows like Rock of Love and Daisy of Love and Flavor of Love. I just couldn't get enough of them when they were on, and I still watch them to this day. I think I still have them on the DVR that I had way back then. So that's mine. So Teresa, what's yours?
I don't know what's really surprising about mine because I'm kind of just always on brand, as though the three of you have never met me, but you can see I'm kind of always the same always. But I think one that is guilty that other people would find me guilty for is, and I will stand by this, and I can defend it quite a bit. I actually think that Matchbox 20 and Rob Thomas are actually good. I think he's an excellent songwriter, and he actually oh no, a man showing emotion, God forbid. In a way that was way better than all those other terrible 90s singers. And actually, his most recent tune, I forget the name of it, was briefly played in the radio, but about how he's happy to still be here and have a long life instead of all the other 90s rock stars or his contemporaries that are dead. So anyway, men should be in touch with their feelings and sing about them. And Matchbox 20 is not only very good on the pop side, excellent pop songs, but really well thought out lyrics. And that's what I'm not really guilty about.
Wow. Matchbox 20. At least it wasn't Nickelback. Thank God it wasn't Nickelback.
Definitely
Hey.
not that.
I feel attacked.
No.
Sorry.
So the last show, my guilty thing was not thinking Nickelback was that bad. So
Oh no.
thanks for that, Josh.
I'll defend you on that.
I don't really have a problem with Nickelback. It's just that they're kind of boring.
They
That's
sing
about it.
country songs in this 90s rock voice is what really bothered me. Weren't they, what was their big tune? Was it no, am I thinking the wrong band, Photograph?
No,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
them.
Nickelback.
Yeah, that's what's
That is
Hey,
that.
all
Yeah,
right.
that's Nickelback.
All right, let me
Look at this photograph. But if you had someone cover that, it would be like, look at this photograph, like a Nashville country song. Time it always makes me laugh. Like it works. They're just singing the wrong type of music. It's one of those things like we had this exercise in music school in which we would have to change the genre of a song up and redo it in a different style. And it's like they did that and it just didn't work out.
Let me save myself. At least it's not Creed.
I've seen people
Well, I'll just change my guilty pleasure for today.
Yeah, you
Let me
win,
just
Josh.
note that.
pink
Don't
leather pants. Josh.
mention Creed.
You
Got
talking about
it.
you don't secretly like rock out to with arms wide open. You have a kid, Josh.
Oh no!
All right. I'm trying to hide this now. I'm trying to hide my love of Scott Stapp and Creed. I will admit that. I'm trying to hide my love of Chad Kroeger and Nickelback. I will admit that I actually did back when Columbia House was a thing, and they used to send CDs. I did get a Nickelback CD sent to me, and I kept it. So
Oh, you didn't bring in horror and anger?
No,
Wow.
there. I admit it. I owned Nickelback.
This is a safe space, Josh.
I mean, I wasn't kidding. I've been to multiple Creed concerts. They would go on sale for like literally $5 and a free hot dog or something. Do you remember that, Josh? Like,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I've been to multiple Creed concerts, just screaming out things like "Put a baby in me, Scott Stapp." It's amazing. Why the hell not? Just go with it.
I will tell you quickly my favorite show story of all time. I went and saw Linkin Park with my sister, and POD opened up for them. I don't know if you remember POD, but they did
Not
they did,
that.
well, that's the thing. What?
Wrong Creed.
Or was it?
But
I mean, yeah, maybe that's the Creed we should be talking about.
POD had like one or two hits with like Satellite and We Are the Youth of the Nation, and they came up there and they started playing, and then they were like, well, now we're gonna do some new shit, so you all sing along with us. And they started rocking out the song, and you can see the lead singer just getting into it. And then he took the mic and went, now it's your turn to sing. And he threw the mic out into the crowd, and someone picked it up and went, we don't know this one, and then passed the mic up to the front of the crowd.
Wow, the confidence.
So forever to this day, that'll be my favorite concert experience.
Yeah.
Real confident example of being strong and wrong.
So Shion, what's
Yes.
your guilty pleasure? What's your guilty pleasure?
Okay, so leaving music alone, and I don't even know if this is that guilty because half of the people involved with this show are aware of this and possibly a part of it. But I used to watch a lot of wrestling when I was younger. My dad would record it, and he would take it back with him. He was traveling, and so he was traveling to Nigeria. So we'd go to Blockbuster and get videos, and then we'd put them on a tape, and then he'd have them to watch when he was back home. And so I watched a lot of 90s wrestling, and I got super into it.
Yep.
And I have a friend, shout out to QAW, Quarantine Access or Action Wrestling, who has a show for it. And when they had their first show, I think he dropped maybe 4 or 5 videos on their YouTube page. And I accidentally, instead of watching them in the order they're meant to be, I accidentally went to the main event, and I got extremely hype and amped up for, wrestlers that were versions of comics that I didn't even know, but I was just super into the ones I did know, and it was this huge cage match, and there was a lot of yelling in the house because that's how I roll. I think I'm really into certain sports depending on how active they are, and I'll ignore them forever, but when I'm in it, and I get very invested.
Nice. Thanks for the call out too. That was a beautiful. Scobie.
Yeah, real seamless. Yeah, that's my wrestler name. It's not a big deal. She has a great afro. She's queen of all kombucha in the world. It's fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And Dave Thomas, you are on the wrong Twitch. Sorry.
Did we offend Kit too? Kit seems big mad.
Yeah, I think.
I think it was back when Josh was
going
to Jake me personally, so I appreciate that, Kit.
Oh,
I appreciate the love.
Sorry, Kit.
Remember, Kit, it's tire swing. Just if you got to say it, okay?
Yeah, use the safe word.
Exactly, tire swing.
Tucky, what's your guilty pleasure?
I have several. Two which are just ongoing, but one that's newer than the other one. My newer guilty pleasure is hating all my neighbors. Fuck the people. But my ongoing guilty pleasure, I think it's in the same vein as you, Josh, where I love this really shitty reality show on Lifetime of all networks, Married at First Sight. I mean,
Oh boy, girl.
poison for women's brains.
Oh, we could talk about that too.
I'm obsessed with it. If I'm like off on the evening it airs, I live tweet episodes. I
Nice.
love that show.
Oh wow. I did
Yeah,
not know that. I need to check out your Twitter feed.
yeah. It's but I feel ashamed about it just because it's on Lifetime and it's an
I didn't know
updated
that.
take on arranged marriages, and I sort of kind of enjoy the discourse of shitting on the worst men on the show.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's, it fuels this misandry that I have. No offense to present company, of course. But like, I kind of live for it. We're like, we hate Brett this season. And I'm like, I hate him too.
What season are you on?
I'm on the most recent season right now, New Orleans. It's interesting.
Because it's on Netflix. There's a season on Netflix.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
I don't believe so, just because that one's airing like right now. And they filmed it right
Okay.
before COVID hit. So I think these couples that
It's
were
the last one.
Yeah, so I think these couples that were arranged married as total strangers are now quarantined together, or at least
Oh,
have. I
What a
know
ride.
the
What a
drama.
ride.
wow, how many murders have happened because of that?
God damn.
I mean, if I can add on to Tookie's guilty pleasure,
course,
so I think I watched I watched certain episodes of the last season, not the current one that's on Lifetime.
Mhm.
And then one day I thought to myself, I wonder what happened. And then I Googled. And as I started to scroll, I got sad and I haven't watched the show since. So
You
make
know-
of that what you will.
My favorite bit of drama is from, oh my gosh, the season that was in our hometown. They did a season in Boston.
Did they now?
Yes,
I
they
know
did.
someone who was supposed to be on it. He made it to like the final round of casting, but then he chickened out.
Oh,
No, he
I
should
was
have been
so
married to a
disappointed.
stranger. That dude messed up.
But check this out. They did a season in Boston, and they didn't even, first of all, they fucked up because they didn't get any townies. Okay. So,
Why'd they even come to Boston then?
right. Like I'm sitting here like, why? I want to hear "I do take you as my wife," and I'm gonna bang you behind the tacky. I want. They need some authentic Bostonness. They got somebody from like, I don't know, Haverhill and Cohasset. But anyway,
What?
I know.
That's so not Pissa.
I know.
So sure.
But my favorite tidbit of drama is the fact that like among the married couples, right, there were these two that were fighting. They were really not good for each other. But they were like the typical token hot couple of because they always pair, there's a black couple, but now they have two because they've expanded the field. So there was a token black couple, a token hot couple, a token like nerdy couple, and a token couple where the guy's kind of a pushover. Like you could sit on his face and he wouldn't mind. But the token hot couple, there was immediately trouble in paradise because the girl was mean. Like she was mean as hell. And one of the actual experts, a doctor / dating coach / that sex therapist, actually like sort of kind of wedged her way in and split them up further and got with the husband. And now they're engaged.
That is an update I read in the article about the show and part of why I stopped. I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scandal.
Wow.
I love it though.
Amazing.
I love it. It's time. We need Jesus because I love it so much.
Wow. Well, thanks. I'll have to check that out. I mean, it's not exactly Brett Michaels looking for love, but it's definitely
It's a time.
they were so awful.
It's a time, but like burn some sage after because you need to cleanse that negativity from your spirit.
Especially the Flavor Flav one. Yes, I agree.
Yes. MLev.
Oh boy, this won't really come as a surprise by any means to those who know me. But I have a real soft spot for Lifetime and Hallmark Christmas movies.
Mm.
All year, any time of year. They are just such garbage, and I love every second of every single one. All in the big city, filmed in I don't know, Canada somewhere, but they say it's New York. Fucking the old guy is really Santa. I'm here for it.
So it's like all Miracle on 34th Street with Meredith Baxter Bernie. So what I'm hearing.
Sometimes, I mean, there are like two different. It really is just two different plot lines. It's either like a big city girl who doesn't have time for love because all she does is work. She's got to go to the stupid country because she inherited her uncle's Christmas tree farm, and she falls in love with like the lumberjack.
Yeah.
And then there's like a wise old man who runs the general store, but he's secretly Santa, and his name is literally Chris or Nick or. I love me some tropes.
That's amazing.
Can't get enough of it. Yeah.
I don't know. It's always like some 80s actor, right? I mean, they look vaguely familiar, or 90s, right? And they're like, why do I know you? And it kind of makes you mad, and you have to look it up. And then they're like, they were like sort of successful, but like then sort of not. And then you're like, oh yes, it's that person from that. And then I don't know. I've only seen two. It was in a hotel room, and I was very drunk. Why are they on right now though? This was a couple of weeks ago. So do they play them all year, the Hallmark ones?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I was very confused. Like, this Christmas in July, but it's all I don't know. I don't know.
They have 365 of them at least.
Oh God.
Yeah, they have enough for each day of the year.
I don't know. I was one of those things where I was like, this is terrible, and I judged it, but then I watched the entire thing and then another one. So I can understand.
That's how they get you.
Yep. You hate it the whole way through, and then you watch another. That's part of it.
Why am I doing this?
And Kit, yes, I do remember I Love New York. It's the spinoff of Flavor Flav Daddy Show. Yes, that was fantastic too. And Charm School was another one that was a spinoff of them.
Wait, that show had two spinoffs?
Yeah, the Charm School was a spinoff of the I Love series too. Because it had like
I Love New York. That was such a good one.
I also I Love Daisy was the other one that was a spinoff of the spinoff of Rock of Love. Daisy of Love was the spinoff of Rock of Love, which was awful. Just awful. Wow. I mean, one of the guys was actually in a national band called Dope. Which is that's just stupid information. So moving on. Let me see. Do I have enough time for it? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to the chat for something. This is a segment I like to call "What You Hate Isn't That Bad, Is It?" I'm gonna ask the chat for something they may not like or may find as a pet peeve, and you guys got to tell them why it's not that bad.
Okay.
So chat, what do you got for me? Mushrooms. We'll go with mushrooms right off the bat.
Mushrooms. Like seriously, drugs or food?
Drugs or food?
After Dave Thomas, we're all waiting for you.
Okay.
Awesome.
So
we're supposed to tell me why they're not that bad?
Yeah. So I'll go with Dave Thomas's food as opposed to 2MB Studios drugs.
I have a great mushroom recipe. Mushrooms bourguignon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's start with you then.
French tonight. I love this.
Start with Tookie.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, David, DM me for the recipe. Try it out. Get you some nice mushrooms. Maybe you're eating the wrong kind of mushrooms. If you're eating those basic bitch white mushrooms for $2.99, that's where you fucked up. Get you a maitake mushroom, some oyster mushrooms, maybe some shiitakes, right? Mm-hmm. And saute them in some butter, and then braise them in a little beef broth and some wine. Let them soak up. A splash of red wine vinegar, and then put them on top of some noodles. Very delicious.
Nice. And that's I think that's my new favorite statement. That basic bitch $2.99 mushrooms.
Put it on a t-shirt.
It's no longer about pumpkin spice. Now it's like your mushrooms.
Shion, what do you got about mushrooms for David?
David, I'm talking straight to you now, and I want you to know that I hear you. Mushrooms can be a lot. Sometimes we eat them and they're not flavored well. And so for you, I'd like to say, check out that spice rack, bro. What's going on in that flavor situation, friend? Are you putting different spices and seasonings on your mushrooms? Yo, think about it. That's all I have to say.
I really wanted the more you know go above your head at the end of that. Yeah.
That was beautiful. That was inspiring.
That was the perfect.
Straight from the heart. I did not prepare this beforehand.
MLab, mushrooms. Anything to say to David about mushrooms?
You can't.
I mean, nothing that hasn't already been brilliantly said by Shion and Tookie. I've always been personally whatever about mushrooms. Like, I won't actively not eat them. Are they my favorite thing? Like, if there's mushrooms on a pizza, I'm not gonna poo-poo the pizza. I will eat it. But yes, I really feel as though you are just missing some spice, David Deer. I don't know if it's like, is it a texture thing for you? Because if you just like, if you cooked them differently, I don't know, fry those mushrooms. Create the flavor that you are missing in your mushroom experience.
Perfect.
I love it.
And
Beautiful.
Teresa, mushrooms.
Okay, this is gonna be a tough one for me because I actually do avoid eating them. But part of the reason I'm such a master of meat is because I've been a low carb dieter off and on most of my life, and they're very low carb. So you keep that girlish figure. And partly that also, my understanding is that they're really wonderful to pick up seasonings like everyone's been talking about. And actually, one of the neatest things for me is if I am making one of my meat-heavy meals and I do have a vegan or vegetarian friend coming over, especially if we're doing burgers, right? You can make one of the giant mushroom caps. That is a burger, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
We talked about that, so that's the beef, right? Eggplant is like the pork. Trying to find vague equivalencies from how you can grill or cook a vegetable to sort of be around the same area, not really, but kind of same mouthfeel and texture as a meat product, if you will, without going the whole I'm sorry, personally, it's beyond an impossible. But anyway, so there's that as a good selling point. And my own personal advice, I recently bought some pre-made cauliflower risotto. You can make anything with cauliflower these days. Hopes and dreams. Really anything out of cauliflower if you're in these strange diets. But anyway, it's literally just rice, cauliflower, very finely chopped cauliflower, little asparagus spears, and pieces of mushroom in there. Season that up real nice with some heavy cream. I was basic. I followed the package directions. A little bit of heavy cream, salt and pepper, and it was actually really, really good. So maybe if you want to put your toe in the water of eating mushrooms, to have them in a medley or, around perhaps on a poo-poo pizza, really, really whatever, just have it not be by itself for a while. It's like if it's the friend that nobody really likes that much, you feel obligated to be friends with them since second grade or whatever, and then you bring them into the group and just hope that in the big group that they'll sort of blend in. It's kind of like that.
Cool. So normally I'd go to David and ask him who proved it to him. That mushrooms are okay, but you've all won. You all did. You've actually proved it to me because I'm not a mushroom eater either. So I'm gonna go try some mushrooms now.
They better cost more than $2.99, Josh.
Yeah, they're gonna cost more than $2.99.
No, don't do it to yourself.
And I'm gonna do some mushroom drugs too. I did that one time. One time I did that, and I was able to control the clouds. It was kind of neat. This girl that I was with, she saw purple polka dots on everybody's legs, and she thought it was the coolest thing because she was like, "I love purple and I love polka dots. This is amazing." And my friend's foot turned into a lizard and walked away from him. And the same girl that saw polka dots an hour later, she's looking at me going, if all this shit is going to be his polka dots, then this shit sucks. You're controlling clouds. He's chasing his foot, and I'm just seeing polka dots. Fuck this. I'm not doing it again. So that's my story about mushrooms. That's about the only time I've ever eaten mushrooms. The only time I've ever had mushrooms. But thank you for your mushroom information. This has truly been the most interesting points show I've ever had in terms of interesting stuff. So I love that. And next up, the last segment we're going to do is I like to call one of us is the killer. What this is I've given everybody kind of given everybody a role, whether you're going to tell a true story or a lie. There's 3 true stories and 1 lie. So basically, we're just going to have to tell the stories and then try to find out who the liar is. I'm going to start with Tookie.
Oh
Tookie,
gosh.
what's your story?
Oh boy. Oh boy. This is going to be unbelievable to you all, but here goes. So a couple years ago, when travel was still entirely possible, the man and I went down to Cancun in Mexico, which was really cool. And we went on this like excursion thing, which was a tequila tasting tour thing inside of a jewelry emporium, because the gig is to get you lubricated with tequila so that you buy more jewelry. Anyway, so we're, the tour van picks us up from the resort hotel, and all the guests are getting in, and the women, it was me and my boo, 2 couples and a single woman, right? All 3 middle-aged white women, and they're all introducing themselves to each other. And one goes, "Hi, I'm Karen." She goes, "No, wait, I'm Karen. Oh my God, I'm Karen too." And then one turns and she's like, "All right, don't tell me you're a Karen." And I'm sitting there like, my black ass looks like a Karen to you. But, so they're all like, it's 3 women and their groups minus the 1 solo one, and they're all named Karen. And we get to the tequila tasting emporium, and within 2 minutes of us arriving there, the place has a blackout. It's pitch black, so we're all using our phones as flashlights to get in and around to the seating area. We can't look at any jewelry, but they're giving us lessons on tequila. So there's like tequila blanco, reposado, añejo, all these things. Like, we're learning. They actually have an agave farm in the back of the facility where they harvest and manufacture the tequila. It's all really, really cool. And like, we're tasting various samples, and then the host is like, "Are there any couples in the house tonight? This is a romantic blend of tequila." And Karen number 3, who went alone, said, "Does it count if your husband's dead?" And I'm like, this bitch murdered. But yeah, so I went on a tequila tasting tour with 3 ladies named Karen, and one of whom was really doing the most, because she showed up in nothing but a caftan. Nothing but a caftan, and her bag full of Mad Dog 2020 fortified wine.
Wow.
So she was ready. She was Liddy Two Titty and Cancun.
Anybody got any questions for Tookie about the story? Because I do have to pay comment to the best comment I've seen. K3 the Widowmaker.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Killer Karen.
So thank you, Tookie. MLev, what do you got?
Oh, geez. Okay, so growing up, my family would rent this this cabin up in New Hampshire from like a family friend, and so it was my parents and then a friend of mine. We were driving up to it's like it was on its own mountain, like it was like the base of the town was where like Lake Winnipesaukee was, but then you like drive up the mountain to where like the lake house actually was. It was on like its own separate lake, and there is a part of the mountain where it becomes just like dirt road and there are no street lights or anything. So my dad, just to like show us how dark it really was, he was like, "Hey guys, look at this," and he like turned off the headlights of the truck, and it was just completely pitch black, and he kept driving. And it was like, it was fun and freaky, but we were like, "Okay, you can turn the lights back on now." And he was like, no, I'm going to drive home the rest of the way like this. And we were like, "Okay, no, this was fun for a second." And so he turns the headlights and the high beams back on, and literally like too close to us, like feet away, was this moose. He just
Jesus.
appeared out of
Oh my
the
God.
darkness. And so my dad slams on the brakes, doesn't hit the moose, nor does the moose hit us, thank God. But like that moose was not moving. That moose had no intention of giving up the road. We had disrupted his nature walk, and he took it upon himself to say that we could go no further. And so we were just kind of sitting there being like, okay, he's not scared of the headlights. Like, what do we do? Do we just back up? Like, do we wait until he moves? And then my dad thought it would be a good idea to like get out of the car and just like shoo him away like he's a fucking chipmunk. And we're like, Dad, I don't know if you should do that. Moose's knees are known to be aggressive. But by him like opening the door of the truck, that actually prompted the moose to be like, all right, fine, you may pass.
Wow.
I was pretty convinced that my dad was going to get rammed by a moose. He lives to this day.
I've seen moose accidents, and they're no joke. Literally no joke. I mean, I've seen a car probably about that. You know, a station wagon made this small because it hit a baby moose. It was like you don't hit a moose and walk away from that.
Yeah, they do damage.
Anybody got any questions for MLab story?
No, I don't
No?
have any.
All
Thank
right.
you. I have no answers.
Teresa, what's your story?
Sure. So let's see. For my bachelorette party a few years back, we went to Vegas. I know, so brand new. What a new novel concept. No one has ever gone to Vegas for their bachelorette party. But we went to the Hunk Mansion, which was at the Playboy, or no, was it Playboy? I forget, where's the Hunk Mansion at one of the, Hustler Casino. And so we were picked up in this big limo and all this kind of ridiculous stuff. And there were 8 of us. Yeah, there were 8 of us. 8 women. And we arrived there. We're just having a grand old time. I am very drunk. And I think I was on a few other drugs as well, because, you know, you got a party, right? Crossfade. So we're there, and like, I get pulled on stage, you know, and there's this dancer, you know, doing this whole dance thing. And one of my friends who had helped to pay for this lap dance as a present for me, she totally like fell in love with this guy. And she was really like obsessing with him, and she's trying to give him her number and stuff. It's kind of awkward at a strip club, you know? So anyway, that was kind of weird. And then we're going to leave, and we can't find our coats. And like I mentioned, I was pretty messed up, and a lot of my friends were too. You know, we weren't driving, we were picked up in this limo, whatever the hell. So we're like, where are our coats? And it was actually very cold. Vegas gets very cold for those who haven't been there. You know, desert, very cold at night, right? And so we were trying to find our coats. And so we went to the security manager, and we're talking to him, and he looked really familiar, and I couldn't figure out why. He's this older guy, and he had this sort of blue satin shirt on with a very deep low V, and kind of, he's older and shorter, but he was like incredibly jacked for like a 65 or 70-year-old guy. So it's kind of weird. So anyway, we go through this whole process. Eventually we're trying to stay around, you know, because we need our coats, and then we had more weekending to do. And they look at the security cameras, and 2 women had stolen our coats. There was, he showed it to us. They're picking up the coats and leaving. So now in the aftermath of this, after the rest of the weekend, one of my best friends, she became more and more obsessed with this stripper. We all did our darndest to find him on the internet, to really find him so she could seek him out. We planned multiple trips back to Vegas just so we could go back and maybe find him. So nothing really ever came of that, except here's a fun LA thing. She did write a pilot about that weekend and her obsession with the stripper, in which my name's Trish in that. How 80s is that? The character that is me. She's been shopping it around.
Wow. Very cool. Anybody got any questions for Teresa?
Oh, wait, hang on. Sorry, I forgot one of the good parts. During our research, ADD, during our research, we discovered who the manager guy was. He is the guy who was portrayed by Matthew McConaughey in Magic Mike. He was the person who'd started that whole that club back in the day with the male stripper dancers, and that's why he looked familiar.
Wow. Are you sure it wasn't? Are you sure it wasn't just Matthew McConaughey?
I've seen him once in LA in a Beverly Hills restaurant. So no, pretty sure. I was taller than this man. So.
Anybody have any questions for Teresa? Not sensing a lot of questions. No, perfect. Shion.
Hi, everyone. So, here we go. So I had a friend who was getting married in San Francisco area, and excuse me. And so he invited us all to be a part of it. Us all, the handful of people that he did, I knew him from grad school. And so one of the evenings that we went out, we got like hot pot, and like it was the first time I ever had it. That was really fun, and we're all just around having a good time. And when we leave, it was this like really terrible wait for whatever the valet situation was for cars. Everyone was kind of really packed in. So it was just a lot of people that had been having food. They were all outside and waiting. And over time, I noticed someone that I kind of recognized, and I couldn't really place him. And then I realized that I don't know his actual name, but I'm pretty sure his character's name was Chuck on Gossip Girl. He's like the bad boy, quintessential, I guess. And so I recognized him and I pointed him out to a friend who got very excited and wanted to like get like a photo with him or something, but was like too shy to do it. And for whatever reason, for me personally, seeing him in a less suave state, it was a little bit more like greasy and sweaty and altogether boring than he appears on television. I was just instantly not as like fangirly as I thought I might have been in the past. And so we got some like not candid, but like sneak shots of us trying to like stealthily get him in the frame without like obviously taking his picture.
Cool.
But she never did walk over and say anything.
Very cool. Any questions? No? All right, let's take a quick vote. How many people think that Tookie was lying about the three Karens? Shion and the Chuck from Gossip Girl. MLab and the Moose. Or Teresa and the Magic Mike pilot. Someone's lying. I'm telling you right now.
I honestly don't know.
I actually just hope that Tookie's lying, because if that really happened, then like, good Lord. And how did you not like just get off of it immediately and just, I don't know. And also like I forgot I do have a question. Like if this is a real story, like they must have all gotten real slosh, and I want to hear how like the end of the trip was, if it's real.
Karen from Vancouver and her husband and her son were very cool. I think they behaved themselves because he's a grown son, but it was a family trip for them, for the learning. Karen number 2 and her husband, they got the appropriate amount of tipsy for a tequila tour. And Karen number 3, like I said, she was Liddy Two Titty. She, and I promise you this happened, because she bought herself 2 matching bottles of the nice tequila, because they came in very beautiful ceramic bottles. And she turned to Karen number 1's husband and she's like, "Hey, Andrew, when we both die, let's put our ashes in these." And
well, that's my favorite Karen.
So like,
I'm sorry, I got to wrap it up. But so who was lying? Who was not telling the truth? MLab.
There it is.
It was a bear. Everything
kidding
about the
me?
story was true, except it was a bear.
Wow. That is
Subtle
even that.
difference.
So
Honestly,
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I've heard Tookie's story before, but I was like, was the name Karen? So I was trying to remember if it was just a different name. Everybody's story was so like realistic.
I know, it was amazing. This has been the best show so far I've had in the 7 years I've run it. So thank you all for being a part of it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Tookie. Thank you, Shion. Thank you, MLab. Thank you, Teresa. We'll be back next week with another show. Thank you, Matt and Ben, for letting me do this. And stick around for Jog My Memory, hosted by Ken Breeze. Should be amazing. I've watched it last week. It was a fantastic show. So please stick around for it. And thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thanks,
Good one.
everybody.
Bye, chat.